Welcome everybody, here's an update on Project Ookii Ao, the 91 Turbo Supra hardtop that I've been working on for a little bit. Not a whole lot's been going on recently, but you've asked for some updates, so I'm just going to give you a quick run through of what I'm planning for exterior stuff. I went through and I mapped where I've got dents and problems on the exterior, so I'll just go through that with you right now. You'll notice the bumper has a Plastidip paint on it. Turned out okay. It's better than it was. It's not great. And then the roof did not turn out as expected at all. This is a Rust-Oleum Color Flex paint, which has a pretty cool sheen from the top. It's like a blue-green, but from the side, it's pink. So I've got a pink roof, which has been good motivation to just fix it, I guess. But I did this because the paint underneath is terrible. It's awful. It's all peeled and not even one shade of blue. So I don't know if it looks any better. It probably looks a little worse being pink, but there you go. So the roof is obviously a problem. Let's just go through panel by panel here. So in this front fender, there are a few dents, and I'm gonna see if I can find these in real time. So there's one. You can kind of see how the reflection changes there. That's no good. There's another one on the top side right there. So again, watch the reflection. Yep, that's not good. Other than that, the panel's in pretty good shape. I don't think there are any other dents that I noticed. But I really am going for not quite perfection, but pretty damn close. So I'm going to try and pull these dents out. If I can't pull them out, then this whole panel will get repainted. Moving on to the hood. The hood is actually in really good shape. It was repainted at some point. It was not repainted really well. I'm hoping when I do a repaint, I'm going to do a better job. So you can see some inclusions there. I don't know what exactly you'd call that, a fisheye maybe. And then there's one area right here where there was, I think there was a paint chip. Yeah, right there. And they didn't bother to correct the surface before just spraying. So I might be able to make that a little better with some color sanding. But all in all, that's just not as good as it needs to be. And there are a few of them like that on the hood. But overall, the paint on the hood is actually pretty good. Not bad. So the nose cone, missing paint there. A bunch of missing paint on this inner lip, which is more noticeable than I would have thought. Anytime you're forward, or anytime you were behind that panel, you just see those unpainted areas, especially over there. Look at that, they missed the entire thing. So I think that was just some poor paint work when they resprayed that. And some chips up there. The front bumper was terrible. It's got missing paint all over. They didn't use the correct flex additive, I'm assuming, in the paint, so it just chipped like crazy. So that's why it's Plastidip now. Headlight covers are good. I'll maybe leave those alone. Those would be easy to repaint, but I don't know if they really need it. Going over here to this fender. Let me see what my notes say. Okay, I had a few dents, so let's take a look here. There's some reflections. So yeah, there's one right there, real minor, but let's see if I can get the light just right for you to see that. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so one there, another one right there. Kind of hard to, there you go, you can see that distortion. I think that's about it. I think I had one other one noted, but it's pretty minor. And the lower area looks real good. If you go along here, here's an indication that it's been repainted. You can see some paint on the trim. So if you're looking to buy a car used, if you see paint on trim like that, the factory is never going to make that mistake. At least I hope not. Because when they paint it, the trim's not on the car. So anytime you see paint on trim like that, you know, it's been repainted. So the trim, I've got a new set of trim minus this piece. So this piece I will just try to refurbish. But the rest of the trim I've got all new pieces, so that'll go on. It'll get a new windshield, I did repaint this. This is a metal piece, actually. This is a big piece of aluminum, steel, I don't remember. But it's a big single metal piece, which is actually surprising. I thought that'd be plastic. So that's been repainted. That looks good. I will take off, you can see a rusty bolt there, stuff like that I've got to address. That's going to drive me nuts. These plastic pieces will come out. I'll try and refurb those as best I can. What I've discovered is with a lot of this plastic, if you clean it up really good, and then you can use the Mother's Back to Black or whatever, that stuff works okay, but waxes actually work really well, like carnauba wax. It's kind of painful to get on there, but I imagine some of the synthetic waxes would last even longer. They keep it looking really nice and new. Alright, A-pillar looks good. No real problems. Of course, until you get up to the roof. Let me adjust the light again. So you can see the roof, even through the Plastidip, you can see how terrible some of that paint texturing is. So that's why I threw a coat on there. And then it turned out pink, so now it's just a good motivator to fix my damn paint. Alright, mirror. Mirror's got some bubbled clear coat that needs to get changed, so mirrors need to get redone. Driver's door. Driver's door is not great. It's good, but not great. So if you look at the top panel, it looks good. No real cracks, but no real dents, but we do have cracks, which is probably worse. So it's focused pretty well. You can see there's some corrosion starting around the ring, and right there we've got a crack. I had this on my last Mark III too, so that might be common. Another one starting on the back. So that's no good. That's definitely a problem. So I'm thinking that'll get, I'll pull the panel apart and then maybe hit that with a bit of weld and then grind it down flat again. But I've got to take apart the door to really figure out what's going on. And then a bunch of scratches back here. Just careless keys, I think. And then some door dings all along the edge. You can see some spots pretty clear through there. So just general work needed on that. Then you get to this. Nice spot of corrosion right there. It's having a hard time to focus, but paint's worn through and there's a spot of corrosion. So again, got to take that down to metal, grind that away, get it nice and clean, seal it up, and then paint it. Another problem, this one might be tough to show you real clear. Now the paint's not real clean, so try and ignore that, but you can see all these dimples. There are like 12 different little dents and dimples. I don't know what that's from, but I gotta fix all those. I think that's just gonna be a bunch of skim coats when I'm prepping for the paint. I don't know if I can pull those out, but I'll try. The side skirts look pretty good. Didn't notice any real damage. The seam weld. This may not show up very well on this camera, but the seams for the chassis here, for the frame, are bent. So I'm going to try and bend those or beat those. But anyway, let's keep going. So we've got some scratches here. This panel was not blended very well. Maybe this will come through, maybe this won't, but you can tell this is a different color than this. You can kind of see right there, you've got a band of kind of weird color right there. And then, so I'm guessing, actually I don't really know what happened. The roof is in terrible shape, so I assume that they did not repaint the roof. But then there's this. You would think that that is from the original paint. So I'm not sure why it looks weird blended here. I don't really understand. At any rate, roof will get repainted, B-pillar will get repainted. I'll take off all the trim. All the trim's going to be gone. We're going to repaint it right. I may be doing it in my garage, but I'm not going to take shortcuts on removing trim. This trim is unavailable new. I wasn't able to find anywhere to buy it new. eBay, nothing. If you could find it, I imagine it'd be really expensive, so I'll have to refurbish that. Rear trim, I've got new pieces for the sides, the top, and the bottom, so that'll all be fresh, new factory stuff. moving. Wing, 3-piece wing. I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to switch to the Kanamari wing, or Kaminari, I forget which it is. At any rate, I'll be switching to that 3-piece wing, provided it's still available in carbon by the time I'm ready to buy it. So I'm not too worried about that. I think I'll just take this off, and I'm not going to repaint it. It's got a few chips, just real minor stuff. There you go. Not a big deal there. And then just more scratches and scuffs on this back panel. But again, I'm going to have to redo up to about there, and it still looks a little bit funny. There's some weird blending going on there. So I'm just going to carry that through and probably do the entire panel. I guess we'll see how I'm feeling about blending. This back panel, the lid for the hatch, in really good shape actually. No problems there. Tiny little chip right there. I'm not sure if that little chip is worth repainting the whole thing. I don't think so. Got one through here, so it's real clean, real nice. Rear bumper. This was perfect, and then I was a fool and was trying to jumpstart this with my Land Cruiser, and sort of coerced my wife to run into me, which was more my fault than hers, I think. So you can see this side's pretty good, but then as you get over here, there's a bunch of spider cracking. You can't fix that. That's just got to be repainted, I think. So we'll do the bumper, and may do some rear add-ons as well. And the wing, another chip, but again, not too worried about that. And we get over here, a bunch of work to do on this panel. None of it major, but just a lot of minor stuff. There's a pretty good scratch there. And then the previous owner, it's gonna be hard to see this. So there's a dent in the cap, minor, but nevertheless. Crease in the bodywork there, I don't know if you can really see that. And then another crease here. So I think they hit something, either they hit something twice or they hit an object shaped kind of like this. So there's a crease right there, there's a crease right here, and there's a crease in this, just in that top little piece there. And then some scuffing there. This I think would come out with a buff. So there's that. Let's see. Another chip, scratch. And then if we go up here, you can see the start of some clear coming apart. So I'm going to take off the trim and we'll redo this as well. Again, I'm going to redo the roof, so I figure I may as well just prep and paint the rest of this panel as well. I'm new to painting and blending, so it made sense to me to just paint the entire panel. But I guess what I'm learning with blending techniques is that sometimes you do not want to shift paint at the body panel. It's preferable to blend it, so we'll see. I'm not really sure. I'm new to that. Go around here. Let's finish the body panels. Another scratch here. This door handle's pretty good. No real damage there. Paint's in pretty good shape. I think I can clean that up. So this door may not need anything. Let me check my notes here. I said it had 2 dents and a scratch. So there's definitely some scratching going on. Oh, and actually, yeah, there's one that's clear through to the primer or even bare metal. So I do need to paint this. And, yep, there are a couple dents. So that may need some work. And those dents are going to be tough. I don't know if I can pop those. The wheels. Wheels are not perfect. The wheels have some oxidation on every single wheel. None of them are quite right. The caps are not a perfect match anymore. The paint is worn differently. So I'd like to get these all refinished at some point, but I want to do a brake kit at some point, which is going to require bigger wheels. So I'll probably get new wheels. Not sure what type yet. Let's go around and look at the trim, and then we're done. So trim, I talked about windshield and the rear quarters, but the door trim, that's not good. So I've got to come up with some solution for these. I would like to stay OEM or a really good set of carbon. The carbon ones I've seen though have not been perfect, and I don't want carbon for the sake of carbon. So if it's a perfect replication, then I may do carbon. Otherwise, I'll try and find a really good pair of OEM, but that's pretty hard to find. Door trim on passenger side, on the upper side here. Yeah, alright, passenger side is all kinds of screwed up. So hopefully you can see the reflection of my finger. Make it focus right, there you go. So I think somebody tried to break into the car. Whether it was the owner or a stranger, I don't know. But I bought it like this, so this needs to get replaced. I'll try and find a clean version of that. The weather stripping should also be replaced. That I need to get on order from Toyota. Hopefully that's still available. May not be, unfortunately. Here we've got the passenger door trim for the lower window. It's faded and a little bit odd. This is not available anymore. One of the many pieces I really wish I would have bought when they were available a couple years ago. Just recently, a lot of these trim pieces have gone discontinued, which is a shame. Right as I get a car that I'm actually going to spend some money to restore, and they're not available anymore. So I'll have to see what I can do to refurbish this, but that plastic's going to be tough to get that finish back to normal. So we'll see. And this mirror over here, again, chipped, pitted, that'll get repainted. The corners, I'm going to try and design something to replace this. This is not available anymore, but it causes all kinds of problems. It lets in a ton of wind noise. It looks like hell because it's all cracked. And these are they're always worn on any Mark III, at least anyone that I've seen. So those drive me nuts. I'll try and come up with a homebrew solution, or I shouldn't say homebrew, but something I'd design and have fabricated or try and fabricate myself. So I think that runs through most of the car. One more trim piece here on the driver's side. This one's in good shape, and then this corner, or this vent, is actually in pretty good shape. So I could definitely I could refinish that. The other one could probably refinish that too, just fix that crack and then give it a coat of paint, but yeah, we'll see. So there's a quick update. I'll do the exhaust too. It's got the Tonabee Hyper Medallion exhaust, which I do like, but it's pretty quiet. So I'll do a video on that once I get some lighting under the lift. I've got that in the mail on the way. I figure with the lighting it'd be much better to show that off than just with a flashlight. So that's the plan there. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the lack in updates. Just been a lot of planning and other work going on behind the scenes. But hopefully, in the near future, you'll see some real progress, some paint work, some body work, stuff that I haven't seen done or documented on Mark III to the extent that I plan to. So hopefully you will find that entertaining or informative. Subscribe and stay tuned.